Okay, we are live on Facebook today with Brooke Bendix, and
Hello.
I'm so excited because you're a new client. That's always fun, and what's really fun is you are I have to start here. You're such a big camper, which is we can't just talk about camp, which we probably could spend the whole
Spend hours talking about camp, videos, everything. There's just
well, you and I could spend hours. We could spend hours talking about camp because you went to Camp Walden, which I grew up in my marriage only hearing about Camp Walden. I went to Camp Vermont. My husband and I like to say the only thing we ever fought about is where our kids would go to camp. Right. I said Vermont, he said Walden, our kids went to Tamarack. So
neither.
Right, therein lies the happiest of marriages. Yep. But it's no surprise that you are in a practice helping kids, and in what I see as your heart and soul of helping kids really comes from a lot of your childhood of growing up in the camp life, things that you learned in camp sessions and being at camp, and you probably didn't even know it at the time. And right. And what's interesting for me is I say the same thing. I was the most homesick kid. I was the kid who walked around at camp like tears streaming down my face. Yeah. And then went back in additional summers. Like
when you left and you got home, you're camp sick.
Right. And slam the doors saying, why did you bring me home? Like, right. and my parents are like, cause camp's over and nobody else is there, So Brooke, take me back to a little bit of, not all the way back to your childhood, but a little bit about, how you decided to really become a therapist and a little bit about what I was just sort of giving you an intro about, how you wanted to help people.
So, a lot of it comes from, and not just help people, I work almost exclusively with kids, teens, and young adults. And for at least, I went to Camp Walden for 10 years, but I also went to Tamarack for a year and Tamaqua for a year. So camp has been a huge part of my life. And, also going and being a counselor too, when I was a young adult. So being around kids and teens has always been my livelihood. And I grew up in a big family. I'm the oldest child. I have 3 younger brothers. And so I always grew up around a lot of kids and a lot of wild and craziness. And it's just, I feel it feels weird when I'm not around that. So that was really my passion for working with kids and teens. And what drew me to my profession and working in mental health is really a time when I was in high school, when I was 16 years old and my father passed away. And we had a very close relationship. He was a physician in the community, a very well-known physician in the community. And he was an inspiration to me. Mm-hmm. And I know, what I went through in losing a parent. I know that other kids have had similar experiences. And not only that, whether it's the loss of a parent or a sibling or going through a divorce, that when you're a kid and you're a teen, and especially now in today's world, it's really hard. So my dream and my motivation and my passion is really to work with kids and help them go through those challenging times.
So, can you imagine, like, when you lost your father, and I remember that, and I was, there during that time. There was no social media. No. There was not social media back then, and it's a really hard thing for people to even imagine. But there wasn't social media. Your
Right.
brothers are younger, as you said, you were the oldest. Your babyest brother at the time was only in third grade.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. And
Yeah.
um, and and kids today have, I mean, it's that's the ultimate horrific, I think, thing to happen to a child, to lose a parent,
Right.
um, um, to lose a sibling. Um, it doesn't get worse, and for a parent to lose a child, those are it doesn't get worse than that. And but today, in today's world, these kids, not only that, they take it to social media
Yeah.
and they try and handle it then out, out in the world with all of those, entities. um, Speak to me about some of the things that happen then with kids who then are trying to handle their own problems in the social media world. um,
Yeah. So in clinical terms, we would identify that as internalizing. So the idea that there are all these platforms out there. And I think that these platforms such as Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok, which I'm new to. There's
can you
TikTok.
can you imagine, you're so young and yet you're old to a platform?
What is this? What is this?
Right.
So, all these platforms can be used for good. However, they can also be used in a way where they're using them to let others know what they're going through and to kind of connect for whatever reason that is. And they're not fully capable of vocalizing how they're feeling or what they're going through. And that's where that disconnect kind of comes into play, is that they're not able to fully process what is happening in their lives, whether it's COVID, whether it's racial injustice, whether it's the loss of a family member because of COVID, or divorce or whatever it may be. They take that to social media. So kind of bringing that into it is, that's part of what I talk about both individually and also as a group, as a whole, is how can we use social media in a positive way? And also, how do we put up those boundaries and those barriers? Because as we know in today's world, that there's a lot of backlash and there's a lot of what, the term is trolls.
Yeah.
So, which really can impact somebody's mental health too, because you put something out there, and I've seen there's a lot of research and study on TikTok and body shaming, and how it's come out as being very pro anorexic. And so I talk about that a lot with my teen clients, and we kind of look like what happens when you get this troll or somebody making a comment about your body size or weight or your look, because really these are people you don't even know. We don't even know if they're real or not. And it really does affect their mental health in a negative way. So we have to really be educating these teens in the next generation on how they're using social media and these platforms, and how can we use them for good.
Yeah, it boggles my mind the amount of things that these kids have to deal with in addition to their their daily lives. I mean,
Right.
we've given them all these tools to use, and then they also have to figure out how to use them in the positive, as you said, the positive way, when they're also having people come at them in this negative light. And we have seen so many, hurtful things that have happened. And I too, like you, in a different way, worry about that in such a time where we've taken these kids out of their school, their activities, especially in the past 4 months. It's one of the things that I really do want to talk to you about in our short period of time here, that your practice itself has, and your camp feeling, you've really looked at and said, hey, camp's gone away this summer. I know, this was the first summer my husband and I said, oh my God, we said this in January, actually. This is the first summer we have nobody going on a bus in June. And we said this in January. It was our 23-year-old finally had graduated. He was gonna, practice in a law office this summer, and we had no one. And I said to my husband, we're gonna go to the bus anyway. We're gonna wave somebody's kid off to camp. And then March rolled around, and who could have believed that the story after story of camps across the country were not going to happen. And then I started seeing my old camp not happening. And I'm even getting goosebumps right now. Like, I called my best friend from when I was 8 years old, who lives in Canada. And I said, are your kids okay? Okay. Like, how are they doing? Because they're not going. I mean, we grew up at camp. We became who we are, and my heart hurt. And I know your heart hurt. And so you decided, you and your practice decided, like, this is really having an effect on kids. So talk to me about what, you have decided to do and how to really help kids this summer.
So there's a blog post that I wrote about, the benefits of camp for kids and teens. And, I started thinking about this, I think in March and April, when quarantine happened and schools were starting to close down. And, I think as a kid, probably around March or April is when the countdown starts for camp. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody was very hopeful that, like, we're going to do this. Camps are going to happen. They need to be at camp. I agree. But at the same time, with everything going on, with the number so high, it wasn't feasible. It's not possible. And so this has been a thought for a long time. And as soon as they made that decision that camps were going to be canceled, I was like, what is it that we can do? What service? We have a duty to help these kids that we work with and in the community address their mental health needs and their physical needs too, to be able to get out. What I have seen over the last 4 months is I don't know if slow and steady is the right word, but a decline in their mental health, a significant decline in their mental health and physical too. So, over the past couple of months with teens being very isolated and not able to be in school, see their friends, constantly being on Zoom and online, that we've seen that decline. And so our idea behind this is, I've been running small groups in my practice for a number of years now. I have, not in my office that I'm in right now, but I have a group room where I can fit up to 8 kids. And so from there, I thought, why not take this outside? If kids are home for the summer, why not have a similar idea of taking these small groups of about 6 to 8 max kids or teens, bringing them together outdoors in a safe and socially distanced way, and have a mental health focus, talking about what's going on in the world in relation to COVID, talking about remote learning. I talk about it all the time with my clients, talking about racial injustice and LGBTQA, what's going on within the community, and just here in Metro Detroit too, in Michigan.
Right.
There's so much that is going on in our own community, in the world, and then individually with kids and teens, that they need a platform, not social media, in person with their peers to be able to discuss that. And as a mental health professional, I felt that it was my job, my role to address those needs.
So you've decided to put it in a really fun 2-hour, 2-day a week block. Call it camp. call it camp. And the best part of it is, you're really bringing together a small group, like you said. They're going to discuss an issue, which I think is great, because when you put kids together, I swear by this, they're going to change and rock the world. I mean, they're gonna come up with how to feel better, how to discuss things. Hands down, they're gonna really come up with the power to feel better, and probably come up with some great, not only issues, but actually the impact of how to make it better. But then the second part of that is, like you said, you're physically going to make them move. And I love that. So talk about the physicality part of the day.
So, I think the benefit of this is that I can go from running these groups in my office where we spend an hour and we're able to, come together and connect with their peers, led by, somebody in mental health. And the benefit is that we can take this outdoors. We have the whole entire space of Barnum Park to be able to use. So the other day, one of my clinicians, Rachel, and I, and my assistant Lauren, we were out there in Barnum Park, and we're partnering with Toyology to be able to get some of their really cool and innovative games and activities that we're going to be using. And we went out there and we had this American Ninja Warrior that we set up. And we were like, okay, this is awesome. Let's try and do it. And it was so much fun. And it's just like a little American Ninja Warrior Junior. And we're there and we're talking about this is awesome. How can we connect this to some of the things that we do in our practice, which is communication skills, building friendships. How do you connect and bond with other kids your age? How do you communicate, not just with your peers, with adults, with teachers, with parents too? So taking these games, these toys, these activities, relay races, things like that, and really connect them to the mental and emotional issues that we talk about on a regular basis. One of the other things, sorry to cut off. The other thing is, physical activities, but art projects and things like that. We're partnering up with Wendy Levitt, who does Suki and Merc, and she does tie-dye. So another thing that we were planning to do for one of our sessions is tie-dye some shirts, and we have some shirts too, and incorporate that with the topic of inclusivity and diversity, because that is so big. And I would say that 100% of the teens that I see bring it up and want to talk about it. So if they want to talk about it one-on-one, can you imagine getting a group of 8 teens or tweens together and really being able to discuss it with each other?
So that's what I love. And I know that you're bringing in some other outside people to help with the activities. I looked over your list, and you're running the camp Monday, July 20th, starting at 10 a.m. to noon, Mondays and Wednesdays. It's the last session goes to August 12th. I'm looking down because I want to make sure that I have the dates. People can go to the website I want to get it right, Therapyology.
So just the word therapy, and then you add on ology.
.com. Yep. And that will be my tongue twister. And I'll post it when I reshare the link and everything, because I think it's funny. We've been putting this out there, and everybody, you and I have laughed about this. Us adults want to sign up. We want to do the Ninja Warrior.
I get that all the time too.
We probably want to do it with a glass of wine, but
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, I firmly believe that, and I've said this in this interview, in that you are going to bring together these kids. They've sort of been inside their home. They're talking one-on-one with their friends or in a group chat, but they need to get outside. They need to see the fresh air. You're doing it 8 in a group. It's really great. If you go to the Facebook and Instagram pages, you'll see you're using hula hoops for social distancing. You're thinking about the social distancing aspect, which, we have to right now in any situation. The bottom line is these overnight camps and even some day camps are open. And, just like you have to think about how to social distance kids. But the truth is these kids have to get out what they're thinking. And right now in particular, so many of them are feeling the anxiety and the worry. They're worried also about what their fall is going to look like. It's all over the news. What college is going to look like in the fall, what they're, they left their friends in March. Like they went home with the stack of books, not knowing that they weren't returning on Monday. They thought they were coming back at some point. Who knew? Not as adults, we didn't know. So let alone these kids. So I think, this camp is going to be such a great place for these kids to really come. I think it's only going to grow. You're going to see parents standing by going, me, sign me up. You and I talked.
When we made our videos, we had a whole group of moms in their, walking group with their strollers and all like checking us out. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like, can we get the babysitter and come on over? Yeah. I mean, I think it only shows, from a therapeutic standpoint, really, that we're all feeling this. We're all talking about it. We're all feeling it. But, the truth of the matter is our kids are sponges. We know that. And we can put on a happy face, but our kids feel it, and I think it's really important to say that there's no shame in the game, as they say. Get your kids help. They need it. I've always said, to be a good mom, you need to be an advocate for your kid. And when they need help, get them help.
Right.
They need to talk to other people, and you have to, what do you look for, with a kid who needs help, or, how do you sort of pinpoint that, or when talking to a parent? I mean, I feel like I know my own kids, but sometimes parents may be more reluctant.
So, as a therapist, our role is to listen. So, listening for those buzzwords, listening for those red flags. I mean, we always talk about, I think one of the two big things that I explore is if you've noticed any differences in their sleep habits or eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are big things. If we are not sleeping, we're not really able to function.
Mm-hmm.
We're not eating, we're not really able to function. So those are two big things that I always assess and look for. And, like I said, I've seen a decline in kids and teens' mental health over the past couple of months, and parents see it too.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely notice it too. And I think, as you mentioned, what the conversation around the country is, not just locally here in Metro Detroit, but the country is what's going to happen in the fall with schools.
Yeah.
So, this is just, like you said, the start where we're going to see a huge increase in a need for more mental health, not just adults. I mean, I'm keeping that separate for kids and teens.
Well, I think the issue is that we don't know, and our kids look to us to know, and we don't have an answer for them. And the answers we give them, while they may be truthful, are unsettling.
Right.
If I say to my son, and really my kids are older, but, so I say to my son, like, you're going to law school. Is it online or is it, are you going to be in class? Or are you going to be online? He doesn't know. So how unsettling is that? Like, here he is a young adult. And so, the look on my face probably looks unsettled for him too. And so, it's just an unsettling time. And I think, these kids have a lot on, even more on their plate, as do parents who, you're seeing younger kids. And so parents are thinking, do I need daycare? Do I need, am I going to be in my office? And we're throwing at our world a lot right now.
Right. And I think just what you said right there, as an adult, what would you want to hear? I personally would want to hear that my feelings are validated, that we don't know. There is no certainty. We have no idea what's going to happen 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 6 months from now. But your feelings are valid, they are real, and that we will take it one step, one day at a time, and we'll kind of figure it out together. And that's what I think we need to be telling not just kids and teens, but each other too.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think that's really true. I think you hit it there, because I think just, amongst my friends and our own family, I know, like, my message has been, we don't know. We got to roll with it. And the message keeps changing.
Yep. And we don't know what's going to happen today as the governor makes an announcement too. So all we can do is say, we'll figure it out. We'll take it one step at a time. And that's kind of where this camp idea came from. It's like, okay, camps are not going on and all these kids have no school, are at home, have been isolated, all these things add up. So, what can we do to put together to help parents, to help kids and teens, and do something that's also safe for them too,
So I know that you, like, I just am so thrilled to grab you today, because I know your busy schedule, and I don't want to take any more time because I'm sure somebody's knocking at your door. But the best part is that camp starts next week. You only have a few slots left for the first week, but everybody.
Well, it's a 4-week program, so it's going to be all 4 weeks. And the reason for that is because how kids are able to develop those connections and be vulnerable and open up. So we asked to commit to the whole 4 weeks. It's only 2 days a week for 2 hours. They get, to be able to be together in a safe way. They get some physical activity and social interaction, and to be outside too. It's in Barnum Park, and we're hoping to start another one before school starts too, depending on what happens with all of that. But like you said, this is not going to go away. This is only the beginning, and kids need more peer interaction to be able to talk about what's going on in the world and what's going on in their own lives.
Well, I'm excited. I definitely am going to have you back. I want to check in about all the kids. I want to hear about, some of the things that they talk about and how they're expressing themselves, because I just know that in a couple of these FaceTime lives this summer, I've talked with some kids who have come up with their own camps and their own businesses this summer. And I'm so excited about some of the kids, how they're just coming up with their own things to do. And so I'm impressed with that, but I'm looking forward to hearing about how the kids who come to your camp are really going to get out and express themselves and deal with what's going on with them, because they need to. I think that they're going through a lot. I think that their kids are our future, and we don't take in this country mental health seriously enough the way we need to. And, in this time, that scares me. And I think we need to be shining a huge spotlight right now in mental health. And so, you know, in my limited life of being able to do whatever I can, that is, you know, what I want to be able to do for mental health professionals. So.
I think this is only the beginning, but what you said to that, I will say the key word is adaptability. And we as professionals in any profession, and kids especially, we are noticing their resilience. We are noticing that they're able to adapt, and they will continue. Whatever happens in the fall, we will continue to adapt, and we will move forward.
Well, thank you so much for good luck with Camp Therapyology.
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 Yes, you would so that you can practice it.
I know. I say it all the time, and I write it, and it was like toyology.
Yes. Therapyology.
I love it. I mean, it's like, and go to the site. And Brooke, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Me.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.